Welcome to Global Morning. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled as to strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Thank you everyone for staying with us here on Global Television. I'm Muyi Agbumofwegbe, welcoming you to the live broadcast of Global Morning. We're in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. It's Tuesday, second day in the work week, and it's an opportunity to just put in front of us the very topical issues that we have plaguing us right now as humanity. You know, it's easy to say as Nigerians or as human beings, but I mean the entire humanity. It will appear the crisis, the war, as it's now being called, that is between Israel and Hamas, reverberates across the world. We've seen the impact it has had. We've seen how it has further deepened the challenge that the world is dealing with regards to global peace. And now, since Saturday in particular, it has been this intense talk about how Israel wants to invade and bombard Gaza using ground, air, and sea resources. That's a whole lot of concern, especially when you now realize the implications it has for not just the Palestinians, but for that region as a whole, and indeed for the world. You look at that conversation today, you see issues around ethics, issues around morality, issues around even international law. And that has been a real concern, because every time we talk about international law within the context of international politics, diplomacy, foreign concerns, and so on and so forth, these same countries do not, for the most part, respect international provisions within the ambit of international law, which raises concerns around hypocrisy. Basically, as it stands today, we see countries even aligning, some with Israel, others with the Palestinians. So how do we find common grounds? How do we find lasting peace if we continue to have these alignments? In the meantime, Israel says, look, this war is not between us and Palestine. It is between Israel and Hamas. In fact, Israel has unapologetically referred to Hamas as a terror group, and all of the actions that Israel has put off in the last 10 days points to that fact. Just go to reinforce the belief by Israel that Hamas is a terror group. When it's all said and done, the question is, what are the ramifications of this war? What happens next? We've seen hundreds of thousands of lives lost already. We've seen over 1 million people being displaced already, especially on account of the evacuation order that Israel had put out a couple of days ago. Over 1 million people to be evacuated from Gaza. The UN says, look, this is not only a tall order, it is practically impossible, especially given the time frame provided by the Israelis. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, says there's no going back. This war must be fought to a logical conclusion. In the end, what it means is the conversation must continue to be centered on the pursuit of peace. How much price the world, and indeed Israel and Palestine, will have to pay to find that peace remains to be determined. We're going to take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, we'll look at the papers for you, but the big conversation on the show today is regarding the war between Israel and Hamas. Let's take a look at the papers, beginning with this day newspaper for you. A big story on the front page is one that has a whole lot of details about yesterday's second Federal Executive Council meeting, the very next to the first that was held sometime in August, all right? The inaugural FEC meeting, but yesterday the second one held, and one of the highlights was the inauguration, the swearing-in and eventual inauguration of 3 new ministers. But it says FEC passes MTEF projects to 26.01 trillion naira budget for 2024. MTEF, that's the medium-term expenditure framework. Okay. The budgets provisionally for 2024, we understand, stands at 26.01 trillion naira. We'll break that down for you in the days ahead here on the show and even on other shows here on Global Television. Akintola Williams provided professional shade to over 60,000 chartered accountants, says ICANN president. FEC okays 30 days implementation of MOU with Labour. We hope that makes a difference in the strife between Labour and the federal government. And then above the nameplate of this day newspaper, it says higher energy, food, commodity prices drive inflation to 26.72%. That's a story featured very prominently on our bulletin yesterday and even this morning with stories and reports coming out from the National Bureau of Statistics. Severe in Kogi, Rivers, Lagos, others. One, it says bad roads contributing to higher food prices. So again, that's a clear indication that there's a direct correlation between sound, robust, functional infrastructure and cutting down, or the possibility of cutting down on the prices of essential commodities, particularly food items. All right. But there, we're not done just yet. Let's see if we have more stories to bring your way here. But it will appear that's all we have from this day newspaper. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. Okay, the Punch, as always, has a big story on the front of it. 2024, FG plans 26 trillion naira budget, debt servicing to gulp 8.25 trillion naira. Personnel debt service costs to gulp 62% of 26 trillion naira. Government plans 700 naira to the dollar. FGOK's 2024-2026 MTEF, Tinubu to present signed budget before December 31. 20 Oshun pensioners suffer exhaustion amid rowdy verification. That story is very pathetic. Actually came through yesterday. Again, it shows how we are doing far from enough with regards to taking care of those who have served this country, using the chunk of their lives to do that. Okay, 20 Oshun pensioners suffer exhaustion amid rowdy verification. Must it be rowdy? Can we bring orderliness? I mean, right from when I was a little boy in elementary school, there has always been these incidents of pensioners either falling or passing out, some of them dying, just because they want to get verified. And it's one form of verification after another. Can we not evolve ways to still do the right thing, do verification, due diligence, background checks, without necessarily having to subject these senior citizens, all right, to this sort of nasty, harrowing experiences? That should be a concern that we need to nurse, perhaps until we're able to find a practical solution to this problem. Okay. Then we have palliatives. Nigerians condemn poor rotation. Lambast governors. Third mainland bridge now a death trap. Motorists lament. Okay. Akpabio behind my removal from Senate. Abo alleges. What's more, FG gets over $1.5 billion fresh World Bank AFDB loans December. Edu. Subsidy removal, Naira fall, push food inflation to 30.64%. All right. Israeli Hamas, Putin demands ceasefire. Cardinal offers self for hostages. Incidentally, that's the much you can bring your way so far on the papers this morning. But I need to get the conversation on the road shortly, but that will be after this break. Please stay with us.